What's up, everybody? How's it going? It's your boy Albert Wang with Rylan Bouchard, and today we're doing a little interview about our lives.
I want to talk about you a little bit after you introduce yourself. How about you go first?
My name is Rylan Bouchard. I'm from Seattle, Washington. Grew up here my whole life. My mom is Japanese. My dad is white, so I'm technically half Japanese, but not really culturally Japanese, just more of a American.
So the reason I wanted to invite Rylan to film this video with me is because a couple of months ago, I filmed a video with my friend Rylan. I mean, not my friend, my friend Nathan. Yeah. I showed you the video.
Yeah.
Nathan also moved from Taiwan. So we kind of talked about our experience moving from Taiwan to the US at about 13, 14 years old. So obviously Nathan shared a very similar cultural background with me, and Rylan doesn't. And today, I thought it'd be a good idea if I invited Rylan. I think he witnessed a lot of my change in the past 7 years, since I moved here. And I thought it would be very different coming from an American perspective. A broad idea of how I consider you my closest friend,
I appreciate it.
Yeah. Okay, so let's get into it. Why don't we start with how we met? How do you remember?
Yeah. It was sophomore year at basketball tryouts for our high school team. When the roster was finalized, I went over and I looked at the roster and I was seeing all the names and everything. For the most part, it was all kids that I knew, and it was a bunch of my friends that I'd grown up with, and a bunch of guys that I'd played with before. And then there was one name that I'd never seen before, and it was Albert. And so, me and my friends that made the team, we're all looking at the list, and we're all like, who's Albert? Who's Albert? Like, so it was just through basketball that we met.
Yeah, we met from basketball, and basketball is only after 3 months of high school, right? It starts, about December.
Winter season,
Yeah, so, school started early September though. So there was 3 months of school before we even met. I want to talk about that first. So before I met you or any of the people that we played basketball with, you know how I spent my lunch breaks? Did I ever tell you?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, so I was by myself because I just got here. I just arrived in Seattle. It was my first couple of months at Roosevelt High School, and I had no friends. So I was just sitting in a classroom that I knew the teacher of, and I was just sitting there eating my food, doing my homework. And that's it.
Like every day?
Every day.
Yeah. Did you, were you trying to make friends, or? I
mean, obviously, I wanted to make friends.
Yeah.
But.
Like in classes, you talk to people and stuff?
Yeah, but I think the hardest thing is because most of y'all, I would say maybe 95% of y'all started going to school with each other at such a young age. Yeah. Elementary school, maybe even before that. The circle is already set.
Yeah.
So it was hard for me, and I didn't make any friends before. Basketball. We weren't really close.
Yeah, we weren't friends at the beginning of the season. Even after practices and stuff started, we kind of just played basketball together. Yeah. That's it. But we never hung out outside of basketball. Yeah. But you probably don't remember this. I remember very vividly because it was one of the first conversations I had with people at the school at the time. But do you remember when was the first time that we actually had a deeper conversation, got to know each other more? Do you? I don't know.
You don't know? So, it was sophomore year, so we couldn't drive then. So we were going back home from school, and we met each other on the bus. And that's when we kind of really talked to each other.
Was it after basketball practice?
No, it was just right after school. It was like 3:30. It was just like a 15-minute ride. I didn't get to talk to you much. That's when I added you on Snap, I remember. Yeah.
Did you ask for my Snapchat?
Yeah, that's how people communicated.
Yeah,
in high school. I don't remember exactly what we talked about, but that was the first time I really got to know you outside of basketball. So I added you on Snapchat, and I also wanted to ask you. So it's kind of my own thing though. So we added each other, right?
Yeah.
And you know how I measured our friendship?
How?
We added each other. We probably started snapping each other occasionally.
Yeah.
I was measuring our friendship. When I said measuring, I kind of just mean because you already have your friends. You don't really need an extra friend. You know what I'm saying?
Sure. Yeah.
I needed a friend more than you did.
Yeah.
Much more.
Yeah.
So I was just checking, if you would ever open your location to show me.
Like if I shared my location?
Yeah, if you shared your location with me. Only friends do that to each other, unless you do that to everyone.
Wait,
Yeah.
so did I share my location with you?
Eventually, yeah, a couple months after. And when I saw your location open on Snap, I was very happy about it,
Yeah.
Because that felt like a trust and that felt like you saw us as friends.
Okay.
And-
did you not like have Snapchat until you came? Like,
No, I had Snapchat a year before I came, but that's because I had a friend in Taiwan that introduced me to Snapchat. There's just one day she just said, let's start using Snapchat.
Oh.
But yeah, at this point though in college, I don't really want to use Snapchat anymore. My goal is to delete it before I finish college. I talked to you about that.
yeah.
You want to talk a little bit about how I was when we met,
Yeah, I think like back sophomore year, like basketball season, nobody really knew you very well.
Yeah.
Throughout the season, I feel like I kind of got to know you more than
Anyone else?
like the rest of our teammates.
Yeah.
I think I also tried to make an effort, just like kind of how I am. I've always tried to include people, I guess. So it's like when there's a new kid, I would try to reach out and see if we had some sort of like
Commonality.
connection,
Yeah.
So, especially with you playing basketball, it's like obviously there's already something there. So it was, as we got to know each other a little bit more, you definitely opened up.
I'm talking about the person I was. So my English, my cultural differences, or just the features I presented. Did I feel different from just an average American kid?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, just like even just the way you talked, it was evident that you were not, native.
For sure.
So I remember one day at basketball practice, I came up and I asked you. I was like, it was after practice, and I asked you. I was like, what's your real name? And then you're like, what do you mean? Like Albert. I was like, no, like what's your real name? And then you're like, how do you know like Albert's not my real name? Like you were like surprised that I was like asking you like.
So how did you know?
Well, I mean, obviously you weren't from here, and so like if you're obviously an immigrant, then it's like you must have
and he still calls me that today, and that kind of. I don't know. I just feel like my Taiwanese or my Mandarin name sounds kind of odd. I mean, a lot of Asian names, I just feel like it kind of sounds a little weird in English. My English is probably a little choppy.
Yeah.
I was already trying to hide that, but I couldn't really fully just.
Yeah, I mean, like his English, it was good. Like it wasn't like I was struggling to understand what he was trying to say.
Yeah.
It's just I think with a lot of non-native speakers, there's also just stuttering. Like even now you do it sometimes, but you kind of start saying something and
I don't know how to finish it.
Yeah, it takes you a little while to get the rest of the sentence out, and you kind of repeat the same word over and over again until it comes out of your brain.
Yeah.
But I think back then it was definitely a lot more. Like you could definitely tell that.
So you think I improved a little bit throughout the past, 5 or 7 years?
Yeah. I think your English has gotten more not more fluent, but like more fluid. Like it flows off the tongue a little bit.
Okay. What about culturally?
I don't know. I mean, I think even from the beginning, I think you like there weren't like weird things that you did that I was like, oh, like
that's very different or something.
Yeah, like I think you fit in like culturally from the beginning. I don't think you were.
Yeah, because I mean, I try to hide it sometimes. It's kind of hard to. I felt like it was kind of hard. It could be hard to make friends if I kind of just presented the true identity. I felt like if I presented those, it's gonna be hard to make friends.
Yeah,
harder.
I mean, even from the beginning, I didn't see you as like super like Asian, like stereotypical Asian.
Yeah, that's what I was also gonna ask you. So did I, because Fob, fresh off the boat.
Yeah.
So a lot of people people who are in the position I was in.
Yeah.
And that's something I intentionally try to not be. I mean, I don't want to say it in a mean way, but I just don't feel like that's going to be a welcoming space.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people that aren't very inclusive, especially like with immigrants and everything. Yeah. Which is unfortunate, but I think you did a good job of I guess adapting to American culture.
Yeah, that's another thing, because remember I told you I felt like I was a different person in Taiwan and in the US. Yeah,
actually, sometimes like I wonder about that, because obviously there's no way for me to really get to know like the Taiwanese version of you. Like the way that you speak in English is obviously you come off as just a little bit different because just the language doesn't come as naturally to you.
Yeah.
But like in Taiwanese, I just feel like you'd be more.
I feel more confident when I'm speaking, and I'm like.
So sometimes I wonder about like what the Taiwanese version of you is like, and it's like it's probably a different kind of
but
person.
honestly, I feel like the two versions of me have been getting closer. It's been merging in the past year. I feel like a part of it has to do with how I'm only living with people who only speak English now.
Yeah.
This year specifically, because in the past, my mom's been here, so that's part of my life is still the original me. But now I think now that I'm only living with people who only speak English, I think that's contributing to the merge. And I mean, I'm not saying I don't like my identity here or my identity in Taiwan. But
is there one that you prefer?
I like both versions of myself, but sometimes it just kind of makes me think that, why am I hiding part of the true identity I have so I could, fit in more. At first I struggled with it a little bit, but now I'm kind of more accepting to it because at this point, I think I'm kind of past that stage where I'm debating which one's better for me. I'm kind of just living with the two, and I think I could switch naturally. Yeah. And like I said earlier, they're getting closer with each other, so it's not really a big switch anymore. So, I consider you as one of my closest friends, right? Honestly, if you combine both of my friends in Taiwan and in the US, bro, I still think you're my closest friend.
Really?
Yeah. I had a lot of close friends in Taiwan before I moved here that I thought I would be close with forever. I mean, I'm still close with a few of them, about 5 to 10 of them that I still see every summer, and I would say we're still pretty good friends. If I had to find one or two closest friends in the world, I would say that's you and Amar.
Really?
Yeah, Amar is our other friend who, hopefully I could get him on this channel at some point. It's not like I didn't put in as much effort in making my friends in Taiwan, but I just feel like, maybe because, I spent my prime teen ages in the US, and that could be a reason, that's probably when people make their closest friends.
I mean, it's also when you go through a lot of changes, Yeah. And so if you leave Taiwan and there's people who know you as the person that you are when you left, and you come back and you've changed a lot. And it's like they know a different version of you, a different person. It doesn't really exist anymore.
Yeah, right. So when I was in Taiwan, I was one of the loudest kids, one of the most active, annoying kid in the classroom. I did that for a couple of reasons. I mean, honestly, first of all, that's the attention seeker, and second of all, that was just me. Even if I wasn't seeking attention, that was just still the identity or the person I was. But when I first moved here, I got so quiet, especially among peers. So I was just, hella quiet in class. I wasn't active. I wasn't outgoing at all. I forgot when it was, but it was you and Amar and just our friend group, that there was this one day I felt like I'm kind of getting closer to who I was before I moved. I could, make some jokes and try to be funny with y'all and joke about y'all.
Because I remember Amar tells me the story sometimes about like before he knew you. Because Amar wasn't on our basketball team.
Yeah, Amar's just one of our good friends who's not really that good at basketball.
Okay. And there was one time I was telling him a story about something that happened in one of our games. You did something stupid on the basketball court.
Are we talking about the same player?
Yeah.
It's his turn.
I was dribbling the ball, and I seen Albert was going to be open. Like, I anticipated Albert being open. So I passed him the ball, and when he catches it out of bounds, like he goes and he's standing out of bounds.
Yeah, I was just standing out of bounds, and he passes me the ball, so it's your turn.
Like, you thought I was gonna drive or something?
I thought I was gonna drive, so I was gonna give you space.
You're gonna get out of my way?
Yeah.
I thought he was gonna be open. So
I was trying to drag the help defense away from me.
And he just, he caught it out of bounds. So.
All right, anyway, it's your turnover, and you were telling Amar this story.
Yeah, so I was telling Amar about the story about how this stupid guy we got on our team went and stood out of bounds. And I was like, it was Albert. And he was like, who's Albert? Like, I don't know who Albert is. And then eventually, it came around, and they're good friends now too.
So. Amar, I love you though. I really love Amar. Tell him I love him. I texted him.
Bro. Yeah, bro.
Yeah.
When you texted him that, like you said he doesn't respond.
Yeah, I texted him I love you twice last week, Amar, and he didn't respond.
You know what he does though? He screenshots it and he sends it to me.
Yeah, of course.
he's like this guy thinks I'm his girlfriend.
If you compare the person I am, the person I was, so now 2025, 2019, what do you think I changed the biggest?
For sure, the biggest thing that I've noticed is you have a lot more confidence.
Okay.
Your confidence is going way up, and you're much more open to socialize with like larger groups of people.
Yeah.
You know, like before it was more, you know, you talk to me and you talk to our like little friend group, but outside of that, it was you were still very quiet.
Yeah.
You know, but now you're at the IMA, you know, we're playing basketball.
That's the student recreation facilities.
Yeah. So we play like pick up basketball and stuff, and Albert's out there yelling and arguing with people, and you know, like before, like I couldn't ever imagine you doing that, or you know, getting into a fight. Like I couldn't imagine Albert, you know, yelling at people like that. Like you know, these are people he's not really friends with too. So
yeah,
it's definitely more of a. I see a lot more confidence from you, and just in the way you interact with. I think not just your friends, but like acquaintances, like people that you're not really that close with.
Okay. Yeah. Honestly, I never thought about that. I mean, I feel like it probably comes with all kinds of different improvements.
Yeah.
That I feel a little more confident.
But you know, that might also come back to what you're saying about how you feel like you're too like
your
Taiwanese personality and your American.
That's what I was about to
personality.
say, because I feel like I was more quiet or a little less confident. Because, you know, I was just still navigating. I think about this. I don't think I will ever fully assimilate. Like, part of my Taiwanese identity will forever stay there.
For sure. And that's a good thing.
Yeah, for sure. I find that as a good thing. Honestly, sometimes I even think about it. I think I'm happy that I got to live in two very different countries. Yeah. For the first 20 years of my life. I just find both of these identities or both of these cultures an asset that I really appreciate. What do you think people who want to move here from a different country could focus on when they want to make friends? Or close friends specifically? Because, I mean, I feel like if you go to a school, if you attend school, or you're kind of in some kind of social setting, you can make friends, but I'm talking about close friends here.
Yeah. I mean, I think to find close friends, you have to be able to find the right people. You know, because not everybody is really meant to be a close friend. Because to be close, you gotta, you know, have things in common, and you gotta be able to build a relationship with a strong foundation.
Right.
And so you're gonna have to meet a lot of different people before you can find a group of close friends. Right. But you can't go up to the first person you see and, you know, just be like, yeah, like we're gonna be like best friends now.
Right.
You know, you have to test out a lot of different people.
Yeah.
And so I think the biggest piece of advice that I would have is just like get yourself out there and like meet a lot of people.
Right.
And the more people you meet, the better chance that you have of finding that, you know, that one person is like you're gonna have like that strong connection with.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, for me, obviously, it was sports. I play a lot of basketball. I used to play baseball too. Ron also plays baseball, so you know that's another commonality we had. Hopefully, this could inspire some people and find the right balance between.
Yeah, it is definitely a balance where you know you do have to try to be a part of the new culture that you're in, but it's also
to preserve your original.
You know, because that's still a part of who you are.
Yeah,
and
for sure.
Especially, you know, in America, like everybody's different. You know, it's
definitely
it's a land of immigrants, and so it's not just one race of people. I mean, no matter what race you are, no matter where you're from, you're not gonna walk in somewhere and everybody's gonna be like, oh my god, like I've never seen somebody like this before. Yeah, there's people from all over
the world.
In America. And
be confident, you know, find mutual interests, and time will nurture relationships or friendships. Fair?
Yeah.
A little spoiler for our next video. We're going to talk about Ryland's experience, process of navigating through, what do you call it?
I mean, I think, you know, my young adult life.
Yeah, young adult life.
You know.
We both graduated high school, both went to college, and Ryland left his college to come back to Seattle and, you know, work, stay with his family and stuff. And we're going to talk about how he navigated that and now finding a new goal.
Yeah.
I think it's an interesting journey. I think I don't want to say on track, because I feel like people are always on track on something.
I mean, going somewhere, you know, at least I have, you know, direction.
Stay tuned. All right, thank you, man. I appreciate it.
Of course.